welcome back to Regular Secular Mama. If you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a 7th year homeschooling mom to 2 kiddos currently ages 10 and 12 years old. In my last video, I did a quick unboxing of my Plum Paper planner order where I kind of put together some things that I wanted to use in my own homeschool planner and in my kids' homeschool planner for the 2023-2024 school year. So in this video, I'm doing kind of a plan with me type of video like I did in the last school year, but this time I'm actually putting together my disc planner. So I have not actually assembled my planner yet, but I just have all the pages and things that I think I'm going to need, and I'm going to figure out the order I'm going to put things in and put it all together right here on camera for you to see how that goes. After I'm done with that, if I still have some battery life left in my camera, I will go ahead and do like a plan with me to get ready for our first week of the school year. As you might know, we moved from Texas to Florida, and we moved from a house into an RV. So the last school year was just completely nuts. I'm happy to say that we are now in a house. We are in the process still of unpacking and settling in, so it's a little bit chaotic, which is why I have not had any new videos for you lately, but I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things and get some videos up for you regularly. So let's go ahead and get this going, and you can see how we're gonna get ready for our first week back at school. So this will be the first time that I've used Plum Paper Planner using the disc bound option or the disc punched option. In the past, I ordered a spiral bound Plum Paper Planner, and I love some things about it, but I really like being able to customize what pages are in my planner. So the last school year, I kind of played around with using a disc bound planner and just printing my own pages and seeing what I liked. This time, I'm really excited to have the pages already printed for me. That way I don't have to worry about that every week, and I don't have to, fill in dates and things. It's already set up for me. So just one more thing to make my life a little bit easier. Now with this order, I did go ahead and get the Plum Paper discs because, well, partly I needed more discs in order to have my kids have their own disc bound planners, and for me to have, I decided to do a separate homeschool disc bound planner aside from my regular bullet journal style planner. It just didn't work for me very well to keep those combined, so I think I want those separate. So I just needed more discs, but I also thought that perhaps the disc punch sizing would be a little bit different with Plum Paper versus, say, Happy Planner or some other disc bound systems. So I was curious to see if that was the case. When I got these in the mail, these are the 3/4 inch size, and I have used the 3/4 inch size from, I think it's called 11 Discs on Amazon, and they're really good quality. I really like those, but they are measured 3/4 of an inch on the inside diameter of this. Let me show you. Plum Paper measures it 3/4 of an inch total on the outside. So I was a little bit concerned about the sizing of this, but I think this is all I'm going to have in my planner all at once. So I think this is 3 or 4 months worth of weekly pages, plus some other planning pages, and that really should fit just fine in those discs. First thing I'm gonna do is put my discs on the cover. If you've never put together a disc bound planner, that's really the easiest way to start because those covers are so thick and sturdy. Just gonna put my whole cover together like this, line up the discs, and so now that I have the cover on the disc, this is going to make putting pages on the disc much more easy. And as I put more pages on, these are going to be a lot less flimsy and, hold together better. To start with, I'm going to put my cover page and some pages in the front first, and then I'm going to have some notes and things for just our general homeschool planning before my week pages. Yeah, I think that's how I'm gonna do it. If you've been following me, you know that last year I did almost all of my planning on Notion. I did all of my record keeping on there. I did detailed lesson plans and a calendar and things like that. And while I really liked having everything digital while being in an RV and having such a small space, there were some things that I didn't like about it. I had to remember where things were stored and not lose track of things, in a digital space. So this year I'd like to stick mostly to paper. I'm hoping that this is gonna, keep me organized. Let's go ahead and put these front pages in here. And then when we're done, I'll do a flip through for you. This section is gonna have some of my like regular homeschool planning stuff. I've got some pages that I just made this last week. In Florida, we're required to send a notice of intent to homeschool. There's an annual due date for your portfolio evaluation, so I wanted to keep that in one place, and then just have notes every year, you know, when I did it, who was the teacher who did my portfolio review, when I submitted it, and all of that. So I thought having all that in one place might make it really easy when, you know, I have to look up that information really quickly. Anyway, there's my state requirements and records of our evaluations. And then I put together a course of study, which is basically just a list of all the curriculum and resources that I plan to use with each of my kids. So on this side, we have all of our curriculum for my daughter, who would be, I guess, in 7th grade. And then this is all my son's stuff that he's doing for 5th grade. This is the divider that I used in my other planner. I just grabbed the whole section that was there, so I really don't need this. I think I will, though, keep my index, and I'll have to update this. If you're familiar with bullet journaling, you know that an index is just a way to see what pages or collections are in your journal based on page number. I don't number these pages, but I do like to have a list of like the pages that are in here so I can see at a glance, like, did I have a record of this somewhere? Am I gonna find it in this section? Let's see, this is gonna need to go in the front of my section because I am still doing just a couple of things. Let's see, I actually did that one. Okay, so I lied, actually. I did basically everything except for this one thing here. So I am not actually gonna keep this paper in here, but I think I will just have a space to kind of dump ideas and things as they come to mind. So I'll stick that somewhere in here. This was my brainstorming page. You may have seen this actually if you followed my 5-part planning series for turning over from one school year to the next and planning how the school year is gonna go. This is all included in my course of study that I typed up, so I really don't need this at all. You saw this in that same planning series where I put together what an ideal weekly schedule would look like. However, I did start working at the local public library, so that has been really fun and I've been really enjoying that job, but it does mean that it kind of changes how we do our homeschools, so I think I need to do a new one of these. Now this is going to be like the meat of this planner is all my weekly pages. So I have August, September, October. I'll just do 1 month at a time. I don't want to overload this. I did just October's month, which I don't really think I'll be using until after the fact. I'll explain in a minute. This last section, if you saw my unboxing video, you would have seen I wanted to try this brainstorming add-on section that Plum Paper offers. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's just this one page on the front with like space to jot down ideas, and then every other spread looks like this. It's like a project planning page. I thought the kids might find this useful if they were planning, say, a science fair project or a larger research paper. I'm not sure if we're going to use it yet, but it's something I would like to have on hand so I can just pull it out and hand it to them when I think it might be useful. I wanted to keep that right here in my planner where I would have easy access to it. That is pretty much it for my homeschool planner, and it fits really nicely in here with plenty of space left. I think what I might need in here though is some like regular lined or dotted note pages just for jotting things down. I'm going to include a few of those blank pages at the end of this section, but I'll do that later. I'm not going to do that, you know, on camera and bore you with that. Now, I think I will go ahead and do a quick flip through so you can see everything that's here in order and then plan for our first week of school. So here's our cover, and if you missed it, it says, "Love people and stay curious," which I think is always a good motto, but it's something I wanted to keep right at the forefront and remind myself of all school year. Now I do have a Google Sheets document on Google Drive I have used a calendar like that in the past, and if you saw my planning videos for the new school year, you saw that that's where I had like a school calendar that shows our tentative breaks that we might take during the year. But this is going to be kind of a way for me to just keep a record of it after the fact. So I am going to come in here and fill in when we actually take our breaks on paper. Now this spread is going to take a little bit of thought, so I'm going to do this later, but it is going to be kind of the things that happen generally in that time of the school year. For example, we generally start soccer like late August, early September, and then it runs through usually November. I kind of wish that both spreads didn't have anything here and I could just fill it in how I wanted. What I think I'll do is cover these up and use this for something else, and then just continue this on the back with January, February, and March. Is not something I think I ever used when I had this type of planner for a whole school year. I'm just going to leave it blank unless I come up with a reason to use it. Now I debated whether or not to even include my month pages in here, but I decided to put them in here partly because I wanted to use this as kind of a reverse planning space. There are some days where everybody's not feeling great, you know, you're kind of feeling down or sick or tired, and you just take a day off of school, but maybe you do something else, like we play with some art materials or build some Lego creations or something. I wanted a space to just record that day-to-day stuff that happens that don't, you know, fit in our lesson plans, or, you know, if we took a spontaneous trip to Barnes & Noble or whatever. I wanted a space that I could kind of jot those down and like reverse plan our weeks. What you may have seen in the homeschool community as reverse planning doesn't really work for me. I am not the kind of like go by the seat of my pants type of homeschooler. I need that plan in place to help keep me on track, because I tend to get just as distracted as my kids and kind of veer off course or forget what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But I think this will give me kind of a taste of reverse planning and just see if I like that, even just for like memory making. And then here is our week. I went with a vertical format for this. I was getting used to having my days going horizontally, but with my new job in the library, I really needed to be able to like time block my days or my week. So in order to do that, in order to see like different times of the day, it really helps me to see days vertically, because that's just how my brain works. When I sit down and plan for this week, or whatever week it is, I will come in here and I will block off the times that I'm at work and, you know, work around that with our other homeschool lessons. Because I already know what I'm going to be using this space and this space for, I didn't really see the need to spend the extra, I don't know, a few dollars to go in and label this and this, especially if it might change, so I just didn't even bother. Really, I have enough space in here that I could probably go ahead and stick Octobers as well, just so I don't have so much, you know, moving things around. But yeah, that's basically all there is, and then the brainstorm pages at the back. Let me go back to this actual week where we're starting our school year finally, and do a little plan with me video for you. And I was working with a cactus today that was not very happy to be moved from one part of the yard to another. That was not fun. Okay, got it going. So what you see here is what you already saw in my 5-part planning series for a new school year. This is where all of my tentative lesson planning is for the whole school year. So I just kind of pasted out where I could kind of line up and see, okay, you know, where are we gonna maybe be by the time we take a break for our winter break? Do we have enough time to finish that, hopefully this school year after 36 weeks of instruction? So, you know, this is definitely changing all the time. I'm constantly moving things up and down, but depending on how far we got. But I still like to have kind of an overview of how things might go. So it's a little bit messy right now because we're trying a couple different things, and I really just have the first few weeks kind of set. This first week, I don't know if you noticed, but I called it week 0. That's because we usually kind of do like a slow start, especially this year with being in a new house. We're still unpacking, with me working and everything. We are doing a very slow start. I asked the kids what they wanted to start with school, and they said they wanted to start with reading and history and math. So that's basically all we're gonna do this first week of school. I think what I'm gonna start with is my work calendar, fill in the days that I am going to be working and block off that time, and then kind of work around that schedule. I intentionally did not put anything here. In fact, I don't think there's an option to do that on this layout. You'd have to pick a completely different layout. But what I did buy, and I haven't even tried it yet, but this is from somebody on Etsy. She is, let's see, OK Plans on Etsy. I can include a link in my description, of course, like I always do, but it's hours that are supposed to line up with these blocks. So let me see if this actually works. I don't really mind writing it in, but I thought this might make it easier and faster. I definitely won't be up before 6 a.m., so let's start there. So those line up perfectly with these boxes. So I really like that. For work, I don't know if this is gonna write over this, but I work around noon to around 5:30. Got my work schedule in here, so now we can kind of go around that. And then I'll go ahead and fill in some things that we do outside of the home. Let's see, we go to art class on Wednesdays. It's funny, working at the library, I found that we haven't actually gone to the library very much. I really don't need the times here because I'm just gonna list the things that we're gonna do for school together in the mornings and then just check them off as we go. So I think I'm actually gonna remove this. Going back to our week, we kind of started the read aloud or the audiobook for Penderwicks over the summer, but we kind of like set it aside. It was one that my kids requested to reread, so that tells you how much they love that story. We will go ahead and read that for our read aloud at first. Technically, we're not supposed to start sugar until week 6 of Build Your Library Level 6, so I'm going to try to keep those kind of lined up, and this will give us a chance to maybe finish the Penderwicks. Like I said in my planning videos, we're going to try to stick to Build Your Library schedule as close as possible. It'll just make my life so much easier. So how am I going to do this? Hello again, my friends. I realize that you are jumping now to a completed weekly spread. My phone likes to tell me when it's bedtime and when I should stop using pretty much every app on my phone. So I need to turn that setting off because it's really annoying, and honestly, I don't like my phone telling me what to do. So that means it cut me off in the middle of filming this video, and I was sitting here rambling and talking to basically nobody. What I'm going to do instead is just kind of run you through how I figured out to set up this week and what my thought process was, because you missed all of that, which is unfortunate because you got to see, you know, how I was thinking through the reasons why I put things where I did. So anyway, let me go ahead and just explain what's going on here. As you saw already, I went ahead and time blocked out things that were scheduled. We have an art class once a week. We will be going to the library, you know, as a family, not as a employee. And then I have the days that I'm going to be working. Around that, I have our other things. I think I had already talked about our read aloud being the Penderwicks and how we're going to read that every day, hopefully Friday. On most days I leave for work around 11:45 or so. So it's a little early for lunch and it's late for breakfast. So it's kind of a weird time. I wind up being really hungry at work. So what I've been doing is basically not having any breakfast and eating like a brunch much later in the day, almost right before I go to work. Because that's what I've been doing, I won't really be eating much during the time that they're eating breakfast. That's when I plan to read their read aloud to them. that usually works pretty well. They're usually a lot more attentive when they're not like trying to find things to play with. So I'll go ahead and do that. We will also be continuing to do history together, and we should have plenty of time in the morning to do that because my schedule is all in the afternoons. I went ahead and filled in from my detailed lesson plans on Notion, which I'll show just a little screenshot here so you can see what that looks like. If you're familiar with my Plan With Me videos or my videos on Notion, you've already seen this. Those lesson plans have not changed. I like having all those details on Notion because I don't need to write all the page numbers and every little detail here in this checklist. So I filled in for history what we're going to be doing, reading, timeline, some memory work. And then Monday is a little bit different because we're going to be starting our math. That usually means there's a math lesson for Math UC. And then my daughter is starting a new math. She did do the sample for Think Well, and it went really well, so she might be familiar with the formatting and how like a typical day is going to go, but I'm going to go through this first day with her and just make sure she's all set up and has everything that she needs and she knows what she's supposed to be doing. And part of what we're going to be doing on Mondays as well is what I call a Monday meeting. I don't think you saw this. I think the video cut out before I printed out these agendas. I'll show a screenshot here of what I did on the computer. It's much more colorful because right now all I have is a black and white printer, but I completely plagiarized this layout from Nikki over at HOMESCHOOLology. So thank you, Nikki, for showing this to us. This made a lot of sense to me and it really fit perfectly with what I was already doing with my daughter, only in a much more concise and easy to see format. So I printed this for her. It has everything that she is expected to do during the week that is not exactly like a group thing that we do together. So this is going to have to be completely done for the whole week in order to be done. And then I did a very similar thing for my son, for whom this will be very, very new. For him, I had always filled in his planner myself, and so he had day one with a list of everything for that day, and that was it. He didn't have to think about how to organize his week. So this is going to be new for him. I don't know if it's going to be very difficult or if it's something that he'll be able to pick up very quickly, but I really want him to work on some of those time management skills because he is getting older. He's 10 years old. And I hope that he can work on some of that independence, especially because I'll be working. On their agendas, I have included what I call a Monday meeting and a Friday meeting. Basically, I just want to get together with them at the beginning of the week, make sure they understand everything that they're supposed to be doing, that they know where to find all their resources, that they don't have any questions, where is this math book, or where can I find this, and how do I do this? I don't want that to be a surprise. I want them to have the tools that they need to be successful on their own. That's what that meeting is for. And then on Friday, I want to get back together with them and just make sure that they felt good about how they were planning their weeks, make sure they're working on their time management skills and see, what things they could do a little bit better the next week. So that's what these are for. They have a history summary that they're going to be expected to do on Thursday. As I was filling this in, I think is where it was, I realized that I wanted to have down here a separate section of things that they are expected to do without me. My husband does not participate a whole lot in homeschool. He doesn't do any lessons with them. He works a lot. He's just not a part of this part of our life very often, but he does get home from work before me on the days that I work. He usually gets home around 4:30 or so. We decided that while I'm at work, we're not going to allow screens at all, just because it will eliminate a whole host of issues, thinking they got their stuff done when they didn't, or not knowing what to do and then being upset they couldn't do screens and all of that. I just wanted to eliminate that possibility from being an issue. So because of that, they need to check in with us and make sure that they did everything they were supposed to be doing before they, play Minecraft or watch a show or whatever. So when my husband gets home, he has a place, this will be at home where he can access it, where he can just go down the list and say, okay, show me this. Did you do this? All right, good. Let me see your reading journal. Let me see this. Let me, show me that you did all this stuff, and he can just check those things off. Once they have all those things done and they show him they did everything they were supposed to be doing, then they're free to go and they can go, play on their screens or whatever it is they want to do. Even on the days that I don't work, I think it will be nice to have that chunk of time that I can work on my channel or, do some things just for me, and they can still use that time to work on their stuff independently. Anyway, so that's what this chunk is down here. I included all their math and their independent things, their reading, typing, and I didn't feel like writing it over every single day when there are things that they're doing every day, like they're reading. So I just drew an arrow. I figured, he can figure it out, I can figure it out. I don't need to rewrite that every day. And yeah, that's basically all I have to put in my weekly plan. I don't really have a whole lot of what I call teacher tasks right now. I already prepped pretty well for this week, but this is where I would put those things. I think I said earlier in this video that I am keeping my personal or my regular bullet journal separate from this, just because I didn't really like having it connected to this. It worked okay, but it was too many pages moving around, too many things to keep track of, so I just have that in a totally separate book. So I hope you got something out of that. I hope that was helpful for you. This is just what works for me. I'm not a frills and stickers and colorful kind of planner. This is just the right amount of color to help me make sense of what's going on. As always, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.